Picture this. You're a grandfather living his happy life in the year 1989 and you're looking for a new car. You go to the Toyota dealership and the young salesman, who smells good for some reason, brings you around back to their most luxurious model yet, the Lexus LS 400. You buy it and drive the living hell out of it, enjoying every moment of the incredibly comfortable land yacht that you just purchased. And then you sell it. 20 years later, you see your baby again, but now it's slammed on the ground and the wheels are tilting in wrong directions. Hello everybody, I am Mark Roden, and this is the deep dive on the Lexus LS 400. The year is 1983, and something called the gas crisis had come and gone. And due to the gas crisis, Americans didn't want to be buying these big gas guzzling V8s anymore, which came in handy for Japanese and European car manufacturers because they can now sell their much smaller, better gas mileage cars to the American market. And let's face it, us Americans love to buy cars, so being able to get their name out there in the Americas was a big ol' fat W, as the TikTok kids would say. But then a little company by the name of Toyota came up with an incredible idea. They wanted to sell all of their cars to the American market, not just some. But they knew that Americans wouldn't be dropping the big kahoogas on a Toyota. And on top of that, Sir Ronald Reagan had just passed a law that stated that Japanese car manufacturers could only import 1.6 million cars to the American market. So they made a whole new company that would be specifically for selling luxury cars to the American market, and they called it Lexus.
Because even at the equivalent of 145 miles per hour, the Lexus LS 400 is designed to stir the soul and not much else.
In 1989, they officially launched the first ever Lexus model, and it was completely different from anything seen before. Just like the German competition in America, this car was built for luxury and meant for the people who had money, just like a Mercedes or a BMW. But it was still priced relatively cheap compared to the competition, which meant it was an overnight success. On top of that, most Americans had expected to see an inline 4 or maybe even an inline 6 from these very small Japanese cars, and they were okay with that. But this, my friends, is not like the other Japanese cars. No siree, this is a completely new beast. So they gave it a freaking V8. Kinda because they had to, but also because they wanted it to be fast, and since they knew they were going to be able to make the price a little bit higher, they could afford to build a more expensive V8, and they did, and they called it the 1UZ FE. With the launch of the first generation Lexus LS 400, chassis code was XF10 by the way, in 1989, it was given this brand new 1UZ V8 engine. And at first, Americans were confused but intrigued. It was a 4-liter V8 and it made a very nice 250 horsepower while being rear-wheel drive. It was everything they wanted from the wonderful land of Japan. A powerful V8 but with the reliability of an inline 4 while not costing the same as one of the very unreliable Mercedes or BMWs. And in case you don't know about the 1UZ, this engine was insane. But it wasn't just the engine that made this car so damn special. It was literally everything else too. It was a modern marvel, a car that would change the luxury sedan world forever. It had more advanced tech in it, it had a better 0 to 60 time, it had much better looks, it was more reliable, and a much more affordable price tag than literally any of its competition. I mean, you tell me, you're going out there looking for a new car and you find one that's faster, more reliable, cheaper, and more advanced than the competition, and which car are you gonna go with, John? Obviously, the car was a success. It was such a success, in fact, that in just 2 years after being released, they had already outsold Mercedes, BMW, and Cadillac, and every single one of those companies had felt the wrath. They started to build completely new models, researching the LS 400 in order to get ideas, and most of them fell completely flat on their face. They just could not hold up against this incredibly affordable luxury Toyota. That's freaking insane, you guys. I don't think you truly understand how hard it is to make a car completely from scratch to compete in a ball game that you have never even competed in before and smoke everybody at doing it. That's like taking Tom Brady, training him for 5 years how to fight, and then throwing him in the ring against Conor McGregor and he wins. It's unheard of. The launch of the second generation LS400, which went by the chassis code XF20 now, happened in 1995, and for the most part, it looked pretty similar, but everything else was completely different. They had touched every single one of those suspension pieces in order to give it a much smoother ride. The most important of those would be the added air suspension, and no, this does not work the same way that you know air suspension. They don't just slam the car on the ground from factory. They also massively increased the sound insulation for a more comfortable ride while also touching up on the interior. They bumped up the engine power in order to make a nice 260 horsepower, and with all these added bonuses, you would think there must be some sort of downside, right? Like maybe added weight or it's a slower car. Well, you're wrong. It was actually 200 pounds lighter than the previous generation, and it actually had a 1 second, yes, 1 whole second better 0 to 60 time, while still somehow having a better fuel economy despite having a larger wheelbase and more powerful engine. Blows me away, man. Once again, as we all can imagine, this car was a huge success. It outsold all the competition yet again. It was even more popular now. This car was soon becoming the freaking new kid at high school that all the popular guys hate because all the popular girls love them. And they truly never stopped there. The Lexus LS line of cars has gone through 5 generations as of right now in 2022, and each one being better than the last. Next would be the third generation, which had the chassis code XF30 and is still a very popular choice among car guys worldwide while still being very affordable and once again even better than the last. Then the fourth generation came along and they called that one the XF40, obviously because these guys are just going up by 10 every new generation. Once again, it was another very affordable luxury sedan, but not as popular as the last 3 generations. And finally, as of right now, the last one we've seen in 2022 is the 5th generation, which was called, take a wild guess, the XF50. These last 3 generations are still very cool cars, don't get me wrong, but none of them have had as much of an impact on the automotive world as of right now as the first 2 generations did. Now, over time, these cars have been through a lot. They started their lives out as high-class sedans that only the older people wanted, but over the years and due to the rising popularity of Japanese cars and young people, they have finally started to regain a title as something worth looking out for. People finally are starting to realize the true potential of one of these amazing daily drivers. I mean, you can buy one nowadays for less than $5,000 and you get some technology that some car makers still to this day aren't putting in vehicles. It's a no-brainer that kids are starting to pick these up as first cars or even as a fun, comfortable daily driver, and they are loving them. I mean, you log on to TikTok for more than 10 minutes and you will see at least one video of an LS400 out there, and to be honest with you, it makes total sense. These cars are amazing, and not just for the 90s, but even for the car world today. I mean, why go with a 2020 Toyota Camry when you can get a more reliable, more comfortable, and more advanced car from the 90s for only a fraction of the price? On top of being something worth daily driving, they were also rear-wheel drive with a pretty powerful V8 under the hood, so as long as you swap the automatic transmission out for a manual transmission, these are also an amazing candidate for a fun drift car or even just a street car, especially since the legendary 1UZ under the hood is incredible at making cheap power. The Lexus LS400 was a car that was built on the grounds of being an affordable and reliable luxury sedan for all of the old people out there who had money to spend. And depending on how you look at it, the Toyota made one of the best cars of all time. Sure, it didn't win any FIA World Championships, and it didn't compete in any Group B rally races like most of the legends within the car community, but trust me when I say this, if a car guy talks a lot about a boring little daily driver, that's because it is something that literally everybody from a 16-year-old who wants to add negative 20 degrees of camber onto it to an 80-year-old who just wants to get to bingo and back on time can love. Lexus, I think I speak on behalf of the entire car community when I say, you guys made one of the world's best cars ever, and please, never change. That is the end of today's deep dive video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. Also, go check out all the people that I use their background clips of, I never say that enough, but these guys, literally these people that take these videos and I use them in my videos are the reason that these videos even get done. So huge thank you to everybody that took a video of an LS400 and is now in this video. I really appreciate it. But let me know what other deep dive videos you guys want to see next time. I think it's going to be on the, oh, I know what it's going to be on. I'm not going to tell you though. I will keep that little secret. You little bad boy. I'm not going to tell you. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for all the support. Tomorrow is going to be top 10 drift cars for cheap. I don't even know. I'm a horrible YouTuber, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. I forgot. But you guys are awesome. The support recently has been amazing. I am still looking for a daily driver. That will still happen, so don't worry about that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.